After our mid-season break, round 4 of the FIA Formula 2 Championship brings us back to Europe, and we begin the European leg of the season here at Imola. It's been a couple of years since we've been here, but we now return to the circuit. 4.9 kilometers in length. It's going to be a fabulous weekend of racing, I'm sure. Slight changes to the circuit in terms of gravel traps added in certain areas. We'll go through that in just a second. Top 5, Victor Martins for ART 4th, but a difficult practice session for them. ART earlier, they did get Zach O'Sullivan up in the top 10 eventually, but practice is in the past. Now we go qualifying, Alex.
Further down the road, but let's see what the early benchmark then is from the championship leader in the road in.
Here we go, Zane Maloney up to the line now. Let's see what benchmark time goes down on the board. 1:28.496. We're hearing in our ear that Pepe Marti has had a spin through the gravel. That's what the yellow flags came up for, but that has now cleared as Ollie Behrman goes to the top. 1:28.2. Let's have a look at that incident now. Red Bull Junior car.
Yeah, where we've seen so many incidents so far this weekend. That moment where they can no longer balance the car over that curb in the mid-corner of Tamburello. And Marty there, lucky there wasn't anybody further up the road. Let's have a look at it on board. Is he going to catch that curb on the right-hand side and just bounce off? Yeah, just a little bit with the right rear tyre. It's so aggressive, the movement of the car there for Marty. See if he's managed to keep the engine. Yeah, you see him grab there.
One out of Ravazza 2. Are we going to see him get himself up towards the top of the times? Joshua Dirksen currently sits at the top of the standings for AIX Racing, but no longer. Isaac Hadjar goes fastest, 1:28.0 for Campos Racing as the early times start to filter through, and Gabriel Bortoleto, the Brazilian, now puts the early benchmark time down. The McLaren Junior 1:28. Down the left, shake very heavily with position changes. Here comes Ritomo Miata out the final corner up to the line. We may see our first big change here. Dennis Hauger up to P8. What about Miata? He's into the top 10, but how long will he stay there for? Here come the Tridents. There goes Richard Verschoor up to second place. What about his teammate Roman Stanek? He won't be far away. One of the Van Amersfoorts coming across the line. It's P1 for Roman Stanek. Who's next? It's Andrea Kimi Antonelli, the Italian, goes to P1 on the grid. Provisional pole position for him. AIX Racing's Joshua Dirksen up to second, and Ollie Behrman now goes to the top. Provisional.
Bortoleto will be the invictor to come across the line, and he's the man we're on board with as he fires it through the gears along the front straight.
Bortoleto carrying that Senna tribute helmet comes up to the line. 4th place for the Brazilian driver. What about his teammate Kushmaini? 13th for him so far, so he will need to find some more time out of the final corner. Let's see what the Sauber Academy driver can do. He's now down in 12th, and Dennis Hauger goes to P8, and Zane Maloney goes to P6. So it's going to be all eyes on Kimi Antonelli and Isaac Hadjar. We pick up Andrea Kimi Antonelli now as he comes out of Ravazza 2, picks up a little bit of slipstream as he fires up to the start-finish line. The Italian comes up to the line. P3 just didn't improve for the final 2 sectors.
Not an improvement for Antonelli, where he expected to be.
Not at all, and Gabriel Bortoleto has just gone fastest through the first sector. Isaac Hadjar, what can he do? No improvement, but that would be a front row start for the feature race. Paul Aron, as you mentioned there, second in the championship, crucially gets himself into the top 10. Here's Gabriel Bortoleto.
Bortoleto super fast in the first phase of qualifying. A very, very important weekend for this young man in his Invicta. Lovely arc down into Ravazza and gets on the throttle beautifully early through the exit. This looks like a mega final sector for Bortoleto. Shortest distance to the line, P1 for Gabriel Bortoleto.
Great stuff from Gabriel Bortoleto. The Brazilian driver goes to provisional pole position, 1:27.056, and he hasn't given a lot of time for the other drivers. Gabriel Bortoleto looks like he's going to take his first pole position. Let's hear from Behrman.
It's the 4th track limit, and we will have a penalty. So we had 3 on a row.
What did you say? I didn't even get a warning. You didn't tell me about track limits.
So the black and white flag.
Like he did at Bahrain, it's going to be Gabriel Bortoleto who leads us away from pole position. here in the feature race in Formula 2, the Brazilian driver. This one will feel so special for the McLaren development driver. What a superb result for him. He's going to be the man to lead us away when